Very well. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our presentation today with Royal Cyber and Software AG on the topic of API governance in a multi-cloud world. We are thrilled to be here today. My name is Rick Bennett. I am one of the partner account managers with Software AG, and it brings me great joy to announce the webinar today in conjunction with our premier partner, Royal Cyber. Presenting with us, we have with Royal Cyber, the Global Head of Middleware and Integration Practice, Mir Mustafa Ali Pasha. Along with him is with the Software AG team, Senior Vice President, Product Strategy with API and Integration, Navdeep Sidhu, and also a joint customer of ours with Mercado Electronico, Mr. John Miller, IT Analyst. Thank you folks so much for being here. Really a pleasure to introduce you. A little bit of housekeeping. Just to let you folks know, this session is being recorded. We're going to have about 45 minutes or so of presentation, followed by about 15 minutes of Q&A. So please, as the presentation is running, use the chat bar, enter your questions, and we will try our best to address those at the end. So thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate your participation in today's webinar. And with that said, I'll hand it over to our speakers. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rick. Thanks for the introduction. Hello, everyone. This is Mir. I'm managing the global middleware and integration practice here at Royal Cyber. Totally focused on helping our customers get the best ROI on their digital transformation journey. So here's a quick look at the agenda. We'll start off with the overview of Royal Cyber, who we are and what we do. And then Navdeep will present an overview of Software AG and how they have been helping their customers all along. Then we'll dive into the topic of the importance of multi-cloud approach and how do you do API governance in a multi-cloud world, right? We'll talk about that in detail. Then before closing it, we'll talk about the best practices of how to do API governance in the most ideal way possible. And we have a customer on the call, Mr. John Miller, who's going to share his experience of working with us. Finally, we'll open the forum for Q&A. Next slide. All right, so Royal Cyber is a mid-sized, fast-growing IT consulting and digital transformation company. We are specializing in services, solutions, and software. We have over 1,500 consultants across the globe. We are headquartered in Naperville, Illinois, USA, and we have a global presence. We have offices in Canada, UK, Australia, and Middle East. We also have a couple of offshore development centers in India and other parts of Asia. Our strategic partnership with a lot of technology companies on the globe, such as Software AG and others, coupled with our business agility and follow the sun delivery model, makes Royal Cyber an obvious choice for a lot of our customers globally. Next slide, please. We provide reliable and high-performing solutions and services on all the areas listed here, such as APIs, middleware integration, cloud, blockchain, e-commerce, AI, ML, you name it. So we are almost all over the place here. Over to you, Navdeep, on that.
Thank you, Mir, and thank you, Rick, for the wonderful introduction, and welcome to all the attendees, and big thanks to John Miller for being here. From the Software AG side, we are a connected enterprise company. We deliver connected enterprise in the sense of whether it is sensors or your applications. We connect everything, every piece of technology, and also means people, processes, and your internal applications. So 400 plus partners worldwide, and Royal Cyber is one of the premier partners here. We serve 70 plus countries, and our revenues are in excess of 800 million euros and roughly 5,000 employees worldwide. And then we will talk about why multi-cloud and why it is important in today's world. And then we will go into the API governance side of things. And feel free to chime in if you have any comments or you want to give some customer examples there. But what we notice from our side is a multi-cloud strategy is becoming a top priority for many of our customers. And these numbers can prove a couple of things, right? So first of all, companies of all sizes, uh, and it says 45.7% of those will spend more time and resources on APIs. And these APIs are helping digital transformation efforts for all these companies, and they are enabling them to interact digitally with their customers and partners. And 93% of enterprises have a multi-cloud strategy, and out of those, 87% have a hybrid cloud strategy. What that means is APIs are growing. Everybody's either building APIs or consuming APIs. Both the producers and the consumers of APIs are growing at a very rapid pace. And then these APIs are the core for digital transformation. And if you're doing API management, if you're building or consuming APIs, then you need to have a multi-cloud strategy and even a hybrid cloud strategy, right? So a lot of the customers we talk to are very interested about microservices, Kubernetes, containers, and these are just some of the vehicles which enable you on your multi-cloud journey. But everybody does it slightly differently, and you may have a different plan, but we are happy to talk to you and take your questions towards the end, as we indicated. Now, the next slide talks about multi-cloud. Multi-cloud has many benefits, and we will go into some of the benefits later on as well. But multi-cloud needs a very strong governance. And the reason for that is the governance enables you to be successful in what you're trying to achieve. Otherwise, the speed of deployments across different clouds can actually be very resource consuming. We as a SaaS vendor, we support multiple clouds, and we have matured in the sense that our deployment processes across different clouds are much better now compared to the journey we started 5 to 10 years ago. So if you have 3 or 4 cloud providers, if you're a large company, you may have a different cloud in different regions. You may have 2 or 3 cloud providers in US and one in China, a couple in Europe. So you're looking at 5 different cloud providers today, and the speed and the agility can be very different based on the cloud provider. Your IT team, your developers may be hyper focused on one cloud provider, and they may not have all the skills for another cloud provider as well. And then comes the visibility and the security of everything that you're deploying, right? So since your code base could be different on a different cloud provider, your API could be different. That means that the vulnerabilities, the visibility, and all those things can actually be different based on the cloud provider we're talking about. And then comes the measurability, publicity. How do you measure the performance? How you publicize the whether it's the API portal that you're using? Are you using a hackathon or any sort of engagement platform to increase engagement with your APIs? How do you measure the profitability of one cloud provider over the other, right? So there's no way to generate direct revenue from APIs for 50 to 60% of the companies we talk to. But for others, they have a clean, very clearly defined goal of profitability and how API performance will link and generate new business outcomes for them. And then finally, every cloud scales differently. They may all look the same, but then there are some small, things that you need to tweak to scale a cloud to achieve the desired outcome on your side. Right? So multi-cloud architectures need strong governance, and they're also driving the need for API governance to navigate the deployments for hybrid and multi-cloud. So we'll talk about these as we go along, but multi-cloud architectures and kind of API governance, they go hand in hand if you're designing, producing, or consuming APIs. So a big thanks to Mir for putting together this slide. It actually encapsulates a lot of these benefits out front very nicely. What we have seen in our customer base is we have customers who have Azure and they have AWS, and some have AWS and GCP. And when we probe deeper into why, the answer usually is we don't want a vendor lock-in. And they also want to leverage different innovative technologies that these vendors provide. So all these we call them hyperscalers are at a different maturity model. Some are good in certain aspects. Google may be very innovative on the Kubernetes side, and AWS may have Lambda functions which your architects will love. So large companies want to have the best of both the worlds. They want to try out all the hyperscalers, leverage the innovative technology, increase the performance, obviously reduce the cost. They also need failover, right? So if there's an outage for AWS, they don't want all their applications to go down. In some cases, they may use Azure or Google as an alternative, and they may also have a different cloud provider for a failover, right? So if you are in two regions, let's say AWS on the West Coast and Azure on the East Coast, you may have a different region for failover with a different hyperscaler. This is where multi-cloud really shines. Not only you are increasing the resiliency of your business, you are making sure that cloud downtime does not impact your business. And finally, if your business is resilient and you can recover from the disasters very quickly, the final thing is you're making sure the IT is compliant across all clouds, and you're cutting IT-related costs. If you're dealing with three hyperscalers, you can get better discounts, you can get better long-term discounts, incentives, and the usage-based incentives instead of just working with one cloud provider. Now we come down to why APIs, right? So we see a huge growth in the APIs, the consumption of APIs, the production of APIs. And a big chunk of that comes from SaaS. And this is where we really shine, because when you're talking to multiple SaaS providers, cloud applications, they want to be integrated. They need to be integrated. And you need API management, plus you need integration to connect those SaaS providers. And second is apps. A lot of the mobile apps, if you use a banking app, a lot of these apps use APIs behind the scenes. So those apps need connectivity into mainframe and some of the other legacy providers, and they get the data in and out using APIs. And finally, if you're building a mobile app of any sort, you need a good API strategy to deliver the right customer experience, bring in the right data, and enable the right type of transactions. And we can go in a lot more detail on IoT and how IoT sensor management is enabled by APIs, how web applications are, modern web applications use APIs, and how big data can be governed. You can put a layer of governance on top of any big data lake type strategies, and how you can interact better with APIs, right? So some of those benefits are well known, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on these, but the point of this slide is that no matter what you do today, in today's IT, you cannot escape APIs. So you better have a plan for managing those APIs. This is a little bit about the need of API governance. It starts with you built an API, somebody needs to consume it, they need to be able to discover it, right? And the API needs to be complete, consistent, it needs to be high quality that they can use the API, and it needs to be reusable so that if you have multi-cloud strategy, maybe use one cloud in US and one in Europe, is the API the same? Because the compliance needs in Europe could be slightly different. So maybe the API behaves slightly differently. So is this reusable enough that a developer in US can create an API and a developer sitting in Europe can understand and tweak it? And finally, is it secure and compliant, right? Security is one thing. The DDoS attacks and some of the other attacks that you will see are probably common across the geographies, but the compliance is very different, right? So can I make an API compliant with the local, not only the global regulations that the company may have, but also the local laws around data privacy, etc. And this is why so many API management solutions, they strive to create business value. There are some common goals, right? So these are the common goals based on the last slide. The whole idea is to create business value by securing your business data, but at the same time, you are in the business of promoting your API. So how do you create that buzz, engage, and analyze and optimize performance of your APIs while managing the whole API lifecycle? And the questions come up, is your API lifecycles the same? Are you using one cloud provider as a main cloud provider and everybody else kind of gets updated whenever your developers have time? Or are you really managing the API lifecycle across all the multi-cloud infrastructure? So there are a lot of questions, and we will hope to answer all of them by end of this webinar today. And this is a little bit more detail, which will help you think through on how you can engage different IT team members within your API initiatives, right? So governance across multi-cloud starts with governance across API teams. For different personas, some personas heavily focused on creating business value, some personas more focused on security, creating engagement, analytics, and lifecycle. And some of these personas are API product manager, architect, DevOps engineer, business developer, and application developer. And they have very clearly defined roles and responsibilities, but they all come together to deliver that governance across multi-cloud infrastructure. Right. So the next is, how do we do API governance? And at Software AG, we provide solutions to build APIs, consume APIs, and manage the whole API lifecycle. So governance helps continuously improve API assets. So when we create an API, we have a different end goal in mind, but the users of those APIs, they have slightly different requirements, right? So when we launch an API, the API is tested, adopted, it is released, and then the users provide feedback. So it's kind of a endless cycle where we gather the analytics to evaluate success, failure, we adjust the parameters, how the API behaves, and then we keep tweaking the API as we go along. Now, when you get started, the first step is understanding what is your API portfolio. We talk to a lot of companies who cannot even answer a simple question. How many APIs do you expose today? And you can pick a geography, you can pick a team, you can pick a business unit, but you need to be able to answer this question on how many APIs you have that are involved in your API portfolio today. And the point is that if you cannot understand how many APIs you publish or you consume, then it is very hard to manage that. So we have a product called Centrasite, which helps you organize and research those asset portfolios, which means it basically can look for the APIs that you expose, it can catalog them, and the catalog then helps you manage the life cycle of assets. Let's say you have an order fulfillment API in US, and you have another order fulfillment API in Europe, another order fulfillment API in APJ. How does that API work differently? How many developers are involved in maintaining that API? Maybe that API uses Oracle in US, SQL Server in MySQL in some of the other regions, right? So how is that API different? How many developers are engaged in building that API? Can somebody launch a new version without telling another region or a certain number of developers, right? So those linkages, those asset consumers, the roles, permissions, usage, dependencies, it's a very tricky thing. And this tool, Centrasite, tracks all of that, right? So Centrasite is a catalog that helps you manage your API asset portfolio. And then we have, we will talk about all the API products we have, like the gateway and API portal, but this is how the governance starts, right? You document, you see the linkages, and then you make sure that the API DevOps lifecycle, whether you're using CI/CD, DevOps pipelines, Jenkins or Azure pipelines or whatever tool that you're using today for managing the CI/CD, the point is that the API development lifecycle needs to be part of it. So first, we start off by documenting the APIs with Centrasite, and secondly, we look at the whole CI/CD plan for your APIs. You may have a different category of APIs. One may be using a certain type of DevOps pipelines. Another category may be using a different type of DevOps pipelines, right? So we need to bring that. You need to make sure that your multi-cloud strategy works with your DevOps strategy. And then why webMethods IO for API governance? We talked a little bit, but it's time to show you all the capabilities that we have. so that you can understand the full spectrum of capabilities that we can bring to the table. So webMethods is known for API management and integration. So we connect any application, any data, any device, any partner. And by partner, we mean B2B partners. If you're exchanging documents with your suppliers and your customers, those kind of interactions. So we connect to SaaS applications. We connect to hybrid and multi-cloud infrastructure. So integration API management in a very DevOps and continuous delivery model. And for a lot of Kubernetes style deployments, we have microservices. And in microservices, we have microservices runtime, which is a very lightweight container for microservices style deployments for integrations. And then we have micro gateways, which can actually run with your application and speed up the access to that application by providing a low footprint API gateway sitting right next to the application. And then we have B2B integration, managed file transfer. So one thing that is missing on this slide is about 6 months ago, we acquired a company called StreamSets. StreamSets is the leading data integration provider for Databricks and Snowflake type ecosystems. So you want to move your data to the cloud or cloud data warehouse, StreamSets fits in really nicely. So if you look at this picture and you combine StreamSets, you will realize that between the two, we support more integration patterns than any other company in the world with our messaging, with our integration, cloud integration, and microservices style deployment with B2B integration, MFT, and data integration. This is the largest and the most powerful integration portfolio, which enables you to deploy those capabilities on any cloud, multi-cloud, hybrid cloud infrastructures, right? And this is not just me talking about it. We have analyst rankings. So this is the very recent Forrester report that just came out last month. It shows us as a top leader in the API management solutions category. And then we have a Gartner MQ from last year, which also shows us as a leader in the full lifecycle API management as well. And then these are the products that I've kind of alluded to, but it's time to give you an understanding of each product. The first one is API Gateway. And I understand that I haven't shown you a slide on that, but API Gateway is core to our API strategy. It is the runtime security for protecting data and applications, right? So API Gateway and micro gateways, which I talked a little bit ago, they will kind of work hand in hand. So all your external traffic comes through the main API gateway, but the inter-application traffic or the intra-application traffic can go through the micro gateways. And then developer portal is storefront for developers and partners. The developers outside your company or even inside your company want to understand how to adopt the API. This is where the portal comes in really nicely. And then micro gateways provide, I talked earlier, low footprint gateway, and they work with API gateway, right? So micro gateways and API gateways, they work together so that you can get a complete visibility into what's going on in your ecosystem. App Mesh is a revolutionary concept that we have launched. It is essentially taking the service mesh and adding the application context to deliver the microservices in a very API friendly manner, right? So if you find service mesh is confusing, you're not the only one. Everybody finds service mesh is more similar to a networking concept than an API or a business concept, and then it is our take on making it simpler by adding the application context to those services. Engage is our platform for building, promoting, engaging developers. It's a promotional platform, and it comes with our product offerings as well. And CentraSite is the product we talked about, the governance and the catalog, and whether it's an API or other assets related to the APIs, you can manage the whole API lifecycle through CentraSite. Benefits of API governance: promotes the API first culture, purposeful APIs, saves you time and money, brings consistency in your approach, and it standardizes the APIs, right? So instead of 5 different developer teams building totally different types of APIs, you can actually put a semblance into your API program. You can standardize it, and you will find it much more useful when you're doing a multi-cloud type strategy, right? And then reuse and compliance kind of go from there, right? So, Mir, do you want to talk about the best practices and take it over from here?
Sure. Thank you so much, Navdeep. That was a good introduction about what is API governance, why we need to do API governance. All right. So now we'll talk about what are the best practices of how to implement API governance. Right. All right. The first is standardization. Right. So that's one of the first best practice we need to take care of. Standardizing your API design ensures all your APIs are built by an organization remain consistent, right? So one way to standardize your API design is by establishing and enforcing style guidelines for all of your APIs. Okay, so that's standardization for you. The next thing once you do, once the APIs are standardized, is talk about centralization. Okay, a central place where policies are created and enforced. Usually a team is responsible for API governance across the organization. So that's where this comes into play. Most important thing for APIs are they should be discoverable and reusable, as Navdeep just touched upon those things. Right? So as the number of APIs and the governance tooling grows, it becomes necessary to provide a means to easily search and discover your APIs, and they are reusable after they are deployed. Okay, so standardizing your API design not only ensures that APIs are consistent, but they're also reusable throughout the organization. Okay, the fourth thing is API contract. So establishing a contract helps ensure APIs are consistent and again reusable. It allows your dev teams to work in parallel uh, to to create mocks, test, and deploy your APIs. They can really work in parallel once API contracts are in place. Automation. Okay, so we need to leverage automation tools which are available for API contracts, documentation, and tracking purposes. Look at how all of this could be automated, and this should also all of be really part of your API governance strategy, right? And there are many tools available. However, Software AG, the webMethods platform, is built for this purpose. Okay, it has everything you require to start your API program, build it, design it the way it is supposed to be designed, and implement all these best practices out of the toolbox. Versioning, right? So versioning helps your developers to keep track of and maintain different versions of your APIs. So you could use versioning to deprecate an older version of an API and replace it with a newer version. And it effectively helps making deprecation process much simpler. Okay, an effective deprecation policy benefits your consumers because it provides stability. It gives them a foresight of what is going out and what is coming in. Okay, so developers will also know what to expect as APIs are deprecated, and you can control when and how these APIs are eventually sunset. Tracking of your APIs. Okay, so tracking um, the many aspects of an API should be part of your API governance. You can track where APIs are deployed, who's using your APIs, and how these APIs are being used, routing information, all the other aspects of an API lifecycle. You should have the ability to track them through and through. Right. So ensure your API governance rules are met before an API is deployed. It is not an afterthought. It has to be built into the life cycle. Right. So imagine deploying an ungoverned API or an API which violates your governance rules, even into a sandbox environment, is detrimental for especially larger enterprise which have a heavy investment in that program, costing you time and money. So you want your enterprise APIs governance rules as well as your generic architectural type standards such open API specs to be validated against, and any violations are resolved during the design time. It is not during runtime, during execution time. All of this has to happen during your design time. Now, doing so ensures that APIs are complete, consistent, and compliant. And it also delights your internal and external consumers. All right, the next segment is we have a customer on the call, Mr. John Miller, who's joining us from Mercado Electronico. He was part of an webMethods implementation project that we executed a few months ago, late last year. And so we wanted to get him on a call and really talk about the experience of working with Royal Cyber, working on using the Software AG platform, and how his journey has been so far. So hello, John. Thank you for joining us today. John, if you could briefly tell us about Mercado and your roles and responsibilities there.
So Mercado is a e-commerce business-to-business solution. They provide a platform for our customers to go through the entire P2P process for purchasing whatever they need for the procurement area. And my role within that is automation. So for their higher volume customers that can't be going into a web-based portal 100 times a day and extracting information for a purchase order, we automate that process through a universal standard called EDI. And that's how we got in touch with Royal Cyber, because that was a new area for us. We didn't have any resources or experience with that standard or how to get things into or out of it.
Okay. So what business challenges were you facing before you involved Royal Cyber and Software? I think you sort of touched upon this.
Yes, I touched on it a little bit. Our core challenge was mapping documents to and from this standard, but then on top of it, also managing a large number of unique trading partners that we could send and receive these documents to. So we needed a tool that would let us quickly set up this mapping framework and would also let us easily add and maintain different trading partners and manage AS2 connections.
Awesome. So how did you solve this challenge?
So Royal Cyber, y'all were the ones who put us in touch with Software AG, let us know what tools there were, and then after getting us set up with that, reviewed all of our requirements, actually got to work, set up the proof of concept, set up everything we needed, and showed me how to set up trading partners, got everything rolling.
Awesome. Now, how long have you been using Software AG as webMethods platform?
So we've been with Software AG for almost 2 years, and with Royal Cyber for probably 3 months longer than that.
Okay. All right. So what key capabilities of the platform that you like most?
My favorite thing is just how simple it is. It was very easy to get the initial mapping set up, and then it's also very easy if we need to make individual tweaks. Some of our different trading partners have slightly different implementations of the standard, so it's very easy to set up unique flows for each of them and tailor it specifically to what they need. And then on top of that, like I said before, it's very simple to set up trading partners and easy to maintain and update those as anything changes.
Okay, good. So how did the solution help you to stay ahead of the curve and add real value to your customers?
The biggest way was just with how seamless it was to onboard new trading partners. A huge part of what we do is getting things up and running quickly and not having any downtime with the automation. It's very important that purchase orders and invoices are moving back across in real time. There's no outages, there's no downtime, and there's no absurd delay in getting everything set up.
Awesome. And how successful has Royal Cyber been in resolving your existing issues so far and making your life easier there?
They were completely successful. So they solved our issues completely, and we've been transacting for close to that 2-year mark with some of our customers.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And what results have you achieved with this partnership with Royal Cyber across all the KPIs?
So the biggest is the time saving, not having to on my own go learn a new platform, being tutored into how to use everything, and just with quickly onboarding new partners. And onboarding new partners leads to new revenue, it leads to happy customers, it leads to just good relationships with our partners.
Awesome. So what would be one big reason you would recommend Royal Cyber and Software AG to others?
I'd recommend Royal Cyber because I know they'll make solving your problems their priority. They'll take it upon themselves to understand your case and what you need to get done, and they'll make sure it gets done.
Awesome, John. Thank you for sharing your experience with us. It has been a pleasure working with you and your team. and we look forward to continuing our services with you and your organization.
Likewise. Thank you for everything.
Thank you. Moving on to our next segment here. Why Royal Cyber and Software AG? I think you've heard from the harsh mode, as you say, right? So the customers actually spoke about it. But in a sense, we are a digital transformation company. We spoke about it. We have deep skills in APIs, integration, cloud automation, data governance, and other DT practices. Our middleware and integration practice team has successfully implemented several API programs, BDB and integration programs for a lot of customers globally. You've just heard it from John, where we implemented webMethods platform for them and implemented the use case. Our cloud practice team also on top of it has performed several assessment and multi-cloud implementation management projects for a lot of customers globally, right? So our SMEs can actually help you migrate to a cloud provider of your choice, implement an integration platform of your choice, and post migration we also give you a managed services offering to give you complete peace of mind to your customers, to yourself, so you can focus on your core business and do not worry about your IT or the integration layer at all. Okay, Rick, do you want to continue from here on?
Happy to. Thanks, Mir. And thanks, John. Really great to hear from you. So with regards to Software AG specifically, what we specialize in is obviously, as Navdeep and the team has been sharing here today, everything around integration, APIs, and microservices. What you may not be aware of is that we also have a great platform for the Internet of Things, or Cumulocity IoT. In addition to that, we can support a different side of the business with regards to business transformation, IT and business process modeling, portfolio management, etc. And of course, all along the way, we also have business units around application modernization. So again, Software AG has a broad portfolio of technologies to support a business and their challenges wherever they are in their maturity curve with regards to integration, Internet of Things, or business transformation in general. Now, combining our forces together with Royal Cyber and Software AG, it's a strategic, right? It's a strategic partnership that's going to help our customers solve these business challenges, as John was mentioning. So Royal Cyber, bring that trusted advisor, learning and really understanding what the challenges are, what the blockers are to progressing your innovation strategy, understanding the why, right? Why are you facing these challenges, and what technologies can be used to solve those? So enabling that digital transformation based on those business use cases is their specialty. Software AG comes in by providing the platform and a very flexible consumption-based pricing model. And we're all together here looking at the success of the customer, right? At the end of the day, a happy customer, a successful customer is going to be continue to engage with us and provide strong referrals, as John has with us today. So again, it's a partnership here for customer success. And we do keep that at the forefront of our mind, both Royal Cyber and Software AG. Thanks,
Thank you, Rick. Yeah, thanks for that, Rick. In a nutshell, why Royal Cyber and Software AG? You get the best of both the worlds, right? Both from the software side and the services side. And the best part is we can get you up and running quickly with our Jumpstart package. I'm going to talk about in the next slide. So this is the Jumpstart package we are offering for those who are attending this session today. Okay, so this is a 4 to 6 week engagement model, completely focused on one real world use case. Now, this is not a demo. This is not a POC. It is an actual use case chosen by you, the customer, and implemented by Royal Cyber using the platform Software AG's webmethods.io. Okay, so we pick up a use case, we plan it with you along with your stakeholders, finalize it, implement it through and through, document the implementation, right? And eventually transfer the knowledge of how to do this, enable your own internal teams and ensure they are self-sufficient. They knew what has happened and they're good to go. And then discuss about further conversation in terms of how do you take this to the next level. Okay, a lot of our customers have benefited from this program. Okay, it gives our clients an opportunity to see firsthand how their business can benefit from the platform and the service of Royal Cyber, right? And realize the ROI to help them make an informed decision. Most importantly, this program is only open for the webinar participants, and the window closes 1 week after the session is over. So if you'd like to explore and learn more about it, about this opportunity, you want to learn more about webmethods.io, if you're already using it, you need some help in it, right? So this is a time for you. However, even if you do not have a use case handy right now, you do not have a need right now, but you might think you may have something coming up in next couple of weeks, next month, coming quarter, whatever it is, we would love to hear it today or as soon as possible, right? So feel free to reach out to us either on the chat here or drop us an email we will show you the email ID on the next slide with your contact information, and someone from my team would reach out to you and we would be happy to assist you with that. Okay. So that's all we have for today. It's time for Q&A. And so thank you for the next slide, Navdeep. So this is the email ID where you can drop us a note of whatever you have. If you have questions on what you have learned today, what you heard today, you need help with something you're doing today, you are into using some of the capabilities of webMethods and you want to delve into APIs, IoTs, service mesh, or any other piece, right? Or even stream sets that Navdeep touched upon. It's pretty happening today. A lot of customers are actually looking at a streaming ETL as one of the use cases to replace the traditional, the batch way of doing stuff. Okay. Anything related to today's webinar, today's topic, today's content, hey, any questions on API governance for the matter, okay, feel free to drop us a line on this email ID, info@royalcyber.com, and we'll be happy to help you get started with it. All right, we can open the forum for Q&A. Rick, over to you.
Yes, thanks, Mir. And we do have some questions that have come in. So I'm just going to go ahead and start going down the list that we have here. And again, any new questions that pop up, we'll address those as soon as possible. This may be for Navdeep or for Mir, but can you explain the difference between a hybrid cloud and a multi-cloud strategy?
Sure, I can start off and then Mir can chime in. We see customers doing both multi-cloud and hybrid, and there's just very subtle difference. Multi-cloud usually means that you are deploying your infrastructure on multiple cloud providers, and hybrid just adds the on-prem angle to it. So if you are doing multiple clouds and you're also running things which are on-prem self-hosted type infrastructure, then you are most likely doing multi-cloud and hybrid cloud. And in some cases, we have seen the words being used as hybrid multi-cloud as well to kind of denote that we are hybrid and we are on multiple clouds.
Excellent. And the follow-up to that would be, of course, do you support hybrid cloud deployments?
Yes, we do. In fact, most of our products are deployable on both on-prem and cloud, and from cloud to cloud as well.
Excellent. And this one's going to be specific to B2B and integration for a customer who's using the webMethods.io platform today for doing business with trading partners. Do they still need to use APIs for that?
It totally depends on whether the API is being used or not. We see a lot of modern B2B happening through APIs, and we see large companies providing both API and EDI based interfaces. So if you're just doing EDI, you may not need API. But if a partner says we want API based interface, then you can just get the API, convert it into an EDI, and run it through the translator as is. So it depends on the architecture, but if you just want to do good old EDI, you don't need API management. But most of our customers, when they're modernizing their B2B infrastructure, they use APIs along with B2B as well.
Yeah, I would like to add on to what Navdeep have said, Rick. Do you have enough time? I think we do. So this is a statistics. This is from Gartner. Okay, so by 2023, we are pretty close to it. Over 50% of the B2B transactions would be performed using real-time APIs versus traditional approach. Okay, so which means a lot of your competitors are already transitioning over from just doing B2B with the traditional EDI and file transfer, so on and so forth, ways of doing stuff, to start doing that with using real-time APIs. Okay, so if you really want to stay ahead of the competition, or at least be on par with your competition, or worst case, future-proof your own business, right? It's high time you start thinking about APIs, API governance. How do you take your business to the next level using API strategy?
Great, thank you. And this is kind of a two-part question I have here. So the question is revolving around webMethods API products, and are they consistent across the different clouds? In addition, is there a difference between the cloud version of webMethods and the on-premise version?
Sure, I can take a stab at it. Most of our products are the same in the cloud and on-prem, but some of our legacy integration server and trading networks, they have been simplified for the cloud, because the designer interface or the Eclipse-based tooling, is old and it can be complex. But for the API products are the same. Our API stack was newer to begin with, so it looks and behaves exactly the same in the cloud compared to on-prem. And same thing with multi-cloud deployments. If you take our installation from one cloud over to another, it will look exactly the same. So no difference there. But from on-prem to cloud, there is subtle differences in integration and B2B. We aim to achieve the same functionality with a simpler look and feel.
Very good. Just have a few more questions that are coming in here. This person is asking, how do other products, I guess, around our Cumulocity IoT and integration fit in this API governance model? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they can fit very well, because internally the tooling we use, the best practices we use are the same across the company. So when you acquire Cumulocity IoT or any other software AG product, it's very easy to weave them into the same CI/CD pipeline tooling. And also, a lot of times the APIs can actually receive the IoT information, process it, or you can expose, if you're building an IoT analytics platform, you may be able to expose some of those by using the API technology. So they kind of go hand in hand, but it depends on your infrastructure, your architecture, the use case, on how you will deploy and use them.
Got it. This one's going to go back to, I think, what you touched on earlier, Navdeep, a question regarding security. And does the platform provide protection against DDoS attacks?
Yeah, so API management does have policies, security policies, which can be configured, and it helps you against the DDoS attacks. But Mir, feel free to chime in there. You might have seen some customer use cases there.
Absolutely, absolutely. webMethods is one of those leaders in that space that gives protection for most of the attacks you're seeing today. This DDoS is pretty heavy, especially during the peak seasons, like be it Thanksgiving, any holiday season when the sales is up. That's when we have seen some of this happening. And webMethods has been one of those platforms which have helped our customers to halt some of those attacks in their tracks. So yeah.
Excellent. And Mir, somebody may be interested in the Jumpstart here. They're working on a business critical project and may need some extra hands to catch up on the timeline. Can they use the Jumpstart program for that purpose?
Absolutely, yes. So Jumpstart, we could customize the Jumpstart based on the use case. Normally, we try to cover the program for the purpose of the webinar, right? We conduct these webinars in a series every month or so. But yeah, if you have a specific use case and you're short of your timeline, we can definitely see how we can help. Just drop us a line at info@royalcyber.com, and we would be happy to help you with this.
Very good. Looks like I have one more question, probably towards Navdeep, with regards to pricing. And is the pricing for multi-cloud different or higher than for what is the pricing for multi-cloud, and is it higher for multi-cloud deployments?
Well, that's a great question. Our pricing is actually the same. So we are, I think, the only vendor who charges for the hybrid and multi-cloud. So when you buy from us, we basically give you one pricing, and it covers one cloud and one on-prem, well, unlimited on-prem, but one cloud, right? So, and if you want to add more, if you have a multi-cloud strategy, you can just add more environments for the other cloud that you have. So let's say you have both AWS and Google. You can get our software products for AWS and then additional environments for Google, which is a very cost-effective way of scaling. We sell by transactions, so you buy a transaction pack, and then we give you 2 or 3 environments based on what you bought, and then if you want more on a different cloud provider, it's really easy to add, and it's very cost-effective as well. So you don't break the bank. The multi-cloud strategy will not double or triple the cost.
Good to hear. Thanks for that.
And
And go ahead, Mir.
If I can add on to that, right? So that was an excellent answer, Navdeep. But one of the things I like about the pricing is you can really it helps you scale with your business. Okay, you can start small based on your current need, and as you scale your operations, as you move from say 10 trading partners to 25 trading partners and the number of transaction increases, Software AG actually works with you really closely to ensure your business doesn't break just because you're trying to move across. Okay, so they can work with you in terms of giving you those additional transactions you require and really scale your IT infrastructure as your business is scaling up. It's not catching up, but it's actually helping you do that very seamlessly. Okay? And a lot of customers sort of like this. Okay, there are a lot of customers who are SMEs, small medium enterprises, who have very specific need, and some of them do not even foresee what they're going to do in the next couple of years or even in the next 6 months or so. And end of 6 months, they realize, oh, I have boatload of transactions coming in. My business has really grown a lot because I've onboarded. Let's say last year I just did 6 trading partners, and this year I've actually added 10 more. So I have close to 16 more. With this platform, I was able to really accelerate that onboarding process, bring in more business to my organization. I ended up actually exceeding my capacity. What do I do about it, right? So that's exactly where Software AGs comes into play, right? So we really work together with our Royal Silver partnership. We have helped our customers to make sure that business doesn't stop because of their tier has exceeded its limits, right? So the business continues as they continue to grow and scale, and we help them with transitioning over to the higher bucket. So the pricing is awesome, to say the least. Navdeep.
Mir, I think you're becoming a Software AG salesperson. Excellent. Well, I do not see any more questions coming in from the participants. So Mir, I'll hand it off to you for any closing remarks.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you all for joining us today. I know it doesn't end here. I know you may have some questions you would have not got a chance to ask on this forum, but feel free to get back to us using this email ID that's shown on the screen, and we are really happy to assist. And there is a survey that we're gonna post after you end this session. Please give your inputs in your survey and help us understand whether this session was helpful for you, what topics you're looking at, where are you in your APA strategy, right? Where are you in your multi-cloud strategy, and how we can both Royal Cyber and Software AG together can help you in taking your business to the next level and help your organization to stay ahead of the competition, right? So we'd love to hear back from you. Thank you all for joining us today. Looking forward to connect with you again in a next session. Thanks again.
Thanks all. Take care.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, John, for being here.
Thank you, John, for joining us today. Take care. You have a good one.
Yeah, take care.